I'm evolving, but backwards. What's up, Samurai? We are back in more Trove St, and today we're going to be talking about the St. Qubeslick event, which is going to be going on for the next following weeks. Now, for those of you that are curious about store packs and so on and so forth, I've already got all of the store packs. I've already covered them in previous videos, so I'll try and put as many cards in the top right as I can. But otherwise you might just have to look up the pack's name on the channel and so on and so forth. These new pinatas are going to end up being in the store during this event, and at the end of today's video I'm going to be showing you, for the most part, unless I forget some of them, all of the mounts and allies that you can end up getting. But for today's purposes, let's start with the event itself. So first it wants you to meet Qubeslick in the hub, which he's chilling over here. Thankfully they made him nice and big. All you gotta do is go and interact with him, and that's going to end up completing that part of the quest. And then the next part is to collect St. Qubeslick 7 Spice. So 7 Spice is just going to end up being an item that will randomly drop from Treasure Isle biome dungeons, which is just going to end up being not specifically the ocean itself, but it is a specific biome type, which is going to end up being that one just to my right that has like the, you know, the pirate ship, like steering the mast, whatever the heck it's called. I don't know. But that specifically is Treasure Isles. So by completing dungeons in that biome, and the dungeon chest specifically will randomly have a chance of dropping the 7 Spice. So they want you to collect 25 of them. And by doing so, you'll end up getting a Lucky coin. More on that a little bit later. And then the next objective is to collect washed Taters. I always call them tater tots. So the thing is that this is, you guys remember my flux farming video where I ended up talking about the fact that Taters and gardening in general can end up being quite a good method of making flux when the event comes around that needs it. So you'll notice that this ingredient right here takes the washed Taters, whatever, but you can buy it from him, or of course you could just buy unwashed ones from the player market, and then you can just end up washing them over here in the sink. Don't wash all of the ones that you end up buying though, because you might want to resell them afterwards. But either way, you gotta wash 10 of them, or get 10 of them, and then you get a Lucky coin again. And then the next part of the objective is to craft St. Qubeslick Delight. So that's going to end up being this resource right here, which is a food item. So it reveals the presence of enemies hidden by magic of St. Qubeslick. So that's where once you end up crafting it, it'll end up giving you a Lucky coin. And then the next is to obtain a Luck Beast Punch. Now I'm going to insert some clips of these enemies, but basically if you've been around in previous years, it's the exact same this year. There are these enemies that will only show up when you have this food buff that will be in Jurassic Jungle, Neon City or Luminopolis, and Desert Frontier. And each of those specific enemies can end up dropping as a mount as well. This year's newest mount and ally are going to end up being the ones in the Desert Frontier, whereas last year it was the Neon City, and then the year before that was the Jurassic Jungle. All of the mounts and allies are tradable, which again, we'll show those a little bit later in the video. Anyways, by fighting these creatures, you'll eventually end up obtaining a Luck Beast Punch off of them as a drop. And when you do, you'll end up getting a Lucky coin. And then the next objective is going to be crafting the Feast of St. Qubeslick. So one thing I want you guys to keep in mind is while you're fighting those invisible beasts, that first food item will only last like 15 minutes. So just don't consume it and then log out or anything, because otherwise you might screw yourself and you might have to grab more of the 7 Spice or the Taters, whatever. But anyways, now he wants you to craft the bigger food. So this is going to end up also allowing you to see the invisible enemies and so on and so forth, but is going to end up costing some additional items. And once you end up getting this, you will end up getting another Lucky coin. And then the next objective is it wants you to find some St. Qubeslick coins. Now, the funny thing is that these food items will end up actually allowing you to see these chests, which will show up only in Treasure Isles. Once again, you can find them within dungeons, you can find them at the bottom of the ocean. They're kind of all over the place, but they're not specifically like having any requirements. You don't have to like fight enemies or anything. They'll just start spawning all over the place. And when you destroy one of them, you'll end up getting St. Qubeslick coins out of it, and it doesn't matter what Uber world you're in, they're just going to end up giving you a random amount no matter what. So you have to collect 5 coins, which should be pretty easy, and then the next objective, that objective will end up giving you an additional coin as well. And then next, it wants you to find St. Qubeslick's pot of gold. So by completing dungeons and treasure isles, you will end up seeing a pot of gold end up spawning, which will look... I'm going to have to double check if I have footage of it. But otherwise, let me hop into... Can you stop being uncooperative, game? I'm going to hop into my club world just so I can show you visually what this pot of gold looks like, because you can end up crafting one of them. However, the one that you craft doesn't actually have all of the items that you can obtain from the pot of gold. So let me get out of my green room here because I was getting screenshots of stuff. It's just going to end up looking like this inside a dungeon, but it's going to have different recipes and stuff like that. The recipes themselves are going to end up being these various items, which you can craft daily for the coins and St. Qubeslick 7 spice. And then there's going to end up being these items, which will be the specific items relating to this year's event and so on and so forth. And the big thing that you're going to be trying to save for is the banner, because the banner will end up allowing you to see the invisible enemies and get the coins without ever expiring, right? So anyways, you have to find one of these, interact with the pot of gold, and then it'll end up giving you a Sir Lucky coin. And then the next objective is to find Sir Lucky at a Unity Shrine. So this is kind of funny because the game does a terrible job explaining this part. I think any Trove veterans know what they're talking about. They're talking about the 3 Trovian Shrine. They actually call a Unity Shrine for some weird reason. But anyways, the way that you get this guy to interact or to appear is when you find a pot of gold, buy something out of it. And then when you end up going to a Unity Shrine or a 3 Trovian thing, then the NPC will be there. Right? And so they're going to spawn in lots of different biomes and peaceful hills and stuff like that as well. Anyways, you can end up then getting another Sir Lucky coin. This is going to end up being his inventory, which, you know, I already have all of the items out of his inventory, but it's pretty cool. As far as I recall from previous years, I think some of his items swap around. So this was the only screenshot that I got of his inventory, but I'm pretty sure you guys might see different items as well in his rotation. And if I recall, the trick that you would do in previous years, it might not work anymore, was that if you're the only one in the world, you actually can just go far enough away that that NPC will regenerate or despawn because you go so far away from him that he doesn't show up on the map anymore. But then you come back and he'll regenerate with a different set of items in his shop. I don't know if that still works. Just pardon me on that one if that's not the case. But anyways, then you can end up buying stuff out of him if you want to. And then the last objective is to collect one of the Luck Beast's treasures. So the thing is that all of the Luck Beasts, whichever one you end up killing from any biome, has a chance of dropping 2 mounts and 2 allies. Depending on the enemies that you kill, the item will end up being representative of that creature, right? So anyways, you just gotta get one of those items, which more than likely you'll end up getting the ally, and then you get another Sir Lucky coin. And then that's basically it for the event itself. It'll probably end up taking you quite a while to get it all done. But, I mean, it's still pretty cool that we end up having so many free items that we can get out of the event. I'll see... Yeah, okay, so thankfully a lot of these actually retain the same names as they did from previous years. So this is going to end up being one of the allies that you can end up crafting from the pot of gold, which he's kind of floating around there. I don't want to turn off this menu, I'm sorry. And then this is the little luck beast that you can get from the Jurassic biome. And then there's going to end up being this little luck beast ally, which is from the Neon City biome. And then there's going to end up being a couple different other allies, which I'll show you in a moment because they have a different name. But there's going to end up being these mounts as well, which for some reason it doesn't want to cooperate. The Luck Beast one does, but okay. Anyways, this is going to end up being, again, the one from the Neon City. And then there's going to end up being this guy. So this is the one from the Jurassic, and he's pretty cool. And then there's also more recently going to end up being this ally from the desert and this mount from the desert. And I actually really like this year's mount. Not only does it give you a lot of mastery, but it's also going to end up being a flying bird mount, which it just looks so adorable. Because we've had other mounts like this in the past, but none of them have been like this pocket-sized version. Like, I feel like this size of this really is appropriate to our Trove characters instead of the usual giant ones that we end up getting. So anyways, let me see if I can end up tracking down. Are they just called Beast? Well, Flux Beast is one of them. Yeah, let me see if I can get all of these ready for you guys. So this is going to end up being the little Flux Beast ally, which again, you can refer to the stats of it in the top right, but he's just going to be down there and kind of keeps walking behind me like an idiot, which kind of sucks. The whole thing is that the event is going to end up having like basically the normal variant of the ally and mount, and then the Flux version. The Flux version is the rare one. So they're actually quite expensive. And then there's going to be this little Triceraflux ally right there. And then there's also the new one, which I don't have. Let me actually buy that right now. Good Lord. Well, don't say I don't do anything for you guys. It's got a little bit of light value to it and magic fun and stuff. Make your own luck. Damaging enemies can sometimes spawn an explosive St. Qubeslick coin. That's actually kind of cool. It's got a unique effect. I'm going to try that guy out for a little while, even though he kind of sucks. So that's going to end up being all of the allies, and then there's going to be the mounts. So this is the one from Jurassic, which I love the way he looks. He's like, cupcakes are my favorite. Then there's the Triceraflux Beast right here, which I know that my lighting is a little bit atrocious at the moment. Man, there's a lot of things that I missed from events. And then there's going to be this bad boy, which this is going to set me back some flux, isn't it? My God. Okay, whatever. Well, that hurts because I know that it's going to just get cheaper over time. But okay, whatever. Again, don't say I don't do anything for you guys. I mean, whatever. I got the flux to spare, but that just goes to show how rare this bad boy is. And he's just going to end up being a gold variant, which, I mean, it's still cool. Like, I still appreciate the fact that free-to-play players can end up getting all of these things for sure. And it's kind of just a flex to end up getting these. So if you ever get one of these bad boys as a drop, then you're going to end up making some good flux right now. And we'll probably end up making even better flux if you wait for the event to go away, because then this ally is going, or this mount and so on and so forth is only going to appear again next year. So get them now while they're hot, gamers. Thanks so much for watching. Smash like stuff for more. Buy the merch you want to support the channel. Oh, lastly too, if you're wondering about this hat, it's from the Curiosity merchant that is chilling where Luxian normally is. Yeah, anyways, this is also my merch. Bye, guys.